An admin log reads like a diary when it's afraid. Failed deletions, revoked bans, an IP that repeats like a heartbeat. No avatars here, only footprints in wet code. This is Lermo Stories. Authentic traces, artificial hope. If you see user typing, it's already too late.
I've been the superintendent at Milton Arms for just over 9 years. It's one of those old concrete apartment blocks left over from the 70s. 16 stories, cracked tile in the hallways, elevators that groan louder than they should. Nothing fancy, but it's home to people who can't afford fancier. There's no floor 13. I mean that literally. The buttons in the elevator go from 12 to 14. The building blueprints skip it too. Just a blank space where it should be. I never thought anything of it. Everyone knows old buildings used to do that for luck. But 2 weeks ago, the elevator started stopping there. It began with a maintenance alert in the middle of a regular Thursday. Elevator 1 had unregistered activity. That usually means someone hit the emergency stop button or the door was held open too long. But when I pulled the log, it showed elevator 1 pausing between the 12th and 14th floor. Dwell time, 47 seconds. Except there's no way to stop there. Physically, it shouldn't even be possible. I figured it was a glitch. I went up and down the shaft with a flashlight that night, looking for some kind of obstruction. Nothing. No tools left behind, no jammed door, just smooth concrete between levels. The next day, I checked the CCTV from inside the elevator. The timestamp showed nothing strange at first. Just a tenant, old Mrs. Heller from 1405, riding up with her groceries. She hits 14, the doors close, the elevator starts to move. Then it just stops. She glances at the panel, confused. The camera shows the display flickering, 13. It shows 13 for about 5 seconds. Then the light goes out, elevator resumes. I asked Mrs. Heller about it later. She just said, "Funny thing, I thought we stopped early. I could have sworn I saw someone waiting on the floor." That night, I checked the hallway cams. Here's where it gets weirder. Between the 12th and 14th floors, there is a camera feed, labeled Cam 13. It's grainy, black and white, looks like it hasn't been serviced in decades. I don't remember ever seeing that feed before. I definitely didn't install it. And it's showing a hallway I don't recognize. There's a door at the far end. Painted black, no number. The wallpaper is peeling, patterned with little faded gold diamonds. The hallway looks wrong, like it belongs in a different building entirely. The walls bulge in places. The light flickers offbeat. But here's what really made me stop. Someone walked past the camera. Slowly. Didn't look at it. Just a figure, blurry, too tall for the hallway. Their head tilted, like it didn't quite sit right on the neck. That feed is still live. I thought maybe it was a loop, some glitch throwing up old footage. But last night, I left a wrench at the bottom right corner of the frame. Today, it's gone. There's a smudge where it was. And this morning, I got a maintenance request for apartment 1306. We don't have a 1306.
I sat in the office, staring at the Cam 13 feed. It kept flickering, like the signal was fighting to stay alive. Every so often, I'd see that same figure again. Never facing the camera, just moving, slow and stiff, back and forth down that hall. At one point, they stopped in front of the black door. They didn't go in, just stood there. I tried checking the building plans again, no mention of a 13th floor, no unit labeled 1306. But when I searched the digital logs, sure enough, there it was, one maintenance ticket submitted online, dripping from ceiling, smells bad, please fix, Aptant 1306. No name, just that. I took the service elevator and counted the floors myself. When I hit 12, I watched the numbers. The next should have been 14, but it paused. No sound, no movement, just stillness. And for one full second, the panel blinked. 13. The doors didn't open, but I heard a sound on the other side. Not banging, not talking, something dragging. I got out at 14, walked down, counted the floors from the stairwell. 12, 14, still no sign of a hidden level, but something felt wrong. The space between floors was off, like the stairwell stretched longer than it should. Back in the office, I watched Cam 13 again. Someone had written something on the wall. Looked like it was done in marker or soot. I squinted, leaned closer. It just said, "Not a floor." I checked the feed again 10 minutes later, and it was gone. The wall was clean. I know how this sounds, but this isn't a story. It's my job. I keep this building running. I've replaced every boiler valve, sealed every leak, but I don't know how to fix this. Today, elevator 1 stopped again. Tenant from 1102 said it opened on a hallway he didn't recognize. Thought he hit the wrong button. He stepped out, turned around, and the elevator was gone. Just vanished. He found his way back 2 hours later. Came in shaking, asking why the wallpaper on 13 was wet. I didn't know what to say. I went back to Cam 13 tonight. The hallway was empty, but the door at the end, it was open.
I don't know why I did it. Maybe it was the open door. Maybe I just wanted it to end. But tonight, after most of the tenants were asleep, I took the elevator again. Just me, the service keys, and a flashlight. I went alone. I hit 12, then 14. The elevator started to move, but halfway through, it jolted. Lights flickered. Then, it stopped. No chime, no announcement. The doors slid open. It was the hallway from Cam 13. Same faded wallpaper, same wrong proportions. It smelled like mildew and something else. Something old. I stepped out. Every part of me said don't, but I did. The carpet was damp under my boots. There was no sound, no hum of electricity, no building groan, just silence. I walked past door after door. No numbers, just scuffed paint, some of them cracked open a hair. I didn't look inside. At the end of the hallway was the black door, closed again. I reached for the handle, cold, metal, real. But before I could turn it, I heard breathing. Not mine, slow, heavy, right behind the door. I backed away. Then it opened just a crack, and I saw an eye, right at the hinge. It didn't blink. I ran. I don't remember hitting the elevator button. I don't even remember the ride down. I just remember stumbling into the office, shaking, and watching the Cam 13 feed one last time. The hallway was empty again. But the black door? Now it has a number. 1306. And tonight, for the first time in 9 years, the building registered a new tenant. No name, just occupied. I tried deleting the camera feed. It won't let me. I tried disconnecting the power. The screen still stays on. I hear the elevator stop when no one calls it. I hear doors open down the hall when I'm alone. My keys go missing and turn up near the boiler, soaking wet. I've locked the office. I haven't left in 2 days. There's one last entry on the log now, from a few hours ago. Elevator malfunction. Unit 1306 requesting inspection. I'm not going. If anyone finds this, don't ride elevator 1. And if it stops between floors, don't step out.
Hey Reddit, I don't really know why I'm writing this, but I need to get it out. I work as a janitor in an old public school. The building was put up in the 70s, long lines of lockers, flickering lights, empty classrooms with that dusty, forgotten smell. It's usually quiet. That's what I like. No one around, just me and my cart. There's a small monitor in the custodial closet that cycles through the school's security cameras. One screen, a new angle every few seconds. Grainy black and white footage, kinda low res. There's this weird buzz behind it, like old TV static. I never paid it much attention, until a few weeks ago. I noticed something odd on the East Wing feed. A couple of locker doors swinging open, slowly, one by one, like someone was gently pulling them without making a sound. No students, no teachers, no one else should have been there. so I went to check. Walked the whole section, everything was shut. Lockers all sealed tight, not a single door open. I stood there for a while, listening, nothing but the hum of the lights. Back in the office, I rewound the monitor feed. Around the same time I'd seen it live, the doors opened again. Not all at once, more like a slow wave down the line. Then stillness. No movement, no figure, just doors opening into air. I didn't say anything, figured I was tired. Sleep's been weird lately, and this job can mess with your sense of time. But then the monitor started throwing motion alerts, randomly. Storage area, library, east wing again. I'd look at the screen, and it'd be empty every time. Except once. One alert popped while I was cleaning near the lounge. I glanced at the monitor and froze. I saw someone pushing my cart. Same jacket, same boots, same missing bottle cap on the air freshener. But I wasn't there. I was nowhere near that part of the building. It looked just like me, but a few steps ahead. Then, the screen flipped to the next camera, and the figure was gone. I stood there, staring, trying to catch my breath. Told myself it was old footage, maybe some recording had looped. That didn't explain the details, though. The mop placement, the trash bag tied the way I always do it. The next morning, my supervisor asked why there were boot prints near the east exit. Said they were fresh, said they looked just like mine, but I hadn't been through there. I didn't argue. I just said I'd check next time. Then came yesterday, and something changed.
Yesterday was different from the start. I didn't even want to be there, but I needed the hours. I tried to focus on routine. Bathrooms first, then trash, then floors. Kept my head down, avoided looking at the monitor. But around the time I was wiping down the glass near the main entrance, I heard a soft metallic clack. Not loud, just enough to stop me mid-motion. I turned, expecting to see the door had shifted. Nothing. I went back to work. Another clack, this time sharper, closer. I followed the sound to the lockers on the east side. They were all shut when I got there, silent, still, but I swear the air felt heavier. Not cold, just pressed in, like something invisible was standing too close. I backed away, told myself to quit imagining things. As I turned to leave, I heard another noise, like nails brushing lightly against metal. Not scraping, more like tapping from behind the locker doors. I didn't open them. I couldn't. I just walked away. Back in the office, I gave in and looked at the monitor. The east camera had frozen, just one still frame stuck on the screen. The timestamp was current, but the image wasn't updating. I tapped the side of the monitor, nothing changed. Then, after about 5 seconds, the screen blinked to life again. Only this time, the lockers were open. I froze. I hadn't seen them open while I was there. I hadn't heard them. But now, on the feed, they were wide. Worse, someone was standing between them. I leaned in. It was blurry. The lighting made it hard to see details. The figure wasn't moving, just standing dead center back to the camera. Looked like they were wearing some kind of uniform, dark jacket, hood pulled up, hands at their sides. I switched to the next camera angle. Nothing. Just the quiet stretch of empty space. When I flipped back to the previous view, the figure was gone. Not walked out, gone. That was enough. I grabbed my things, but before I left, I did one more check. Walked back toward the lockers with my phone camera on. Not because I wanted proof, but because I needed to feel like I had control. As I turned the last corner, my flashlight caught something on the floor. A line of footprints. Damp, like someone had walked through a puddle. Bare feet. They led from the open lockers toward the supply closet. I didn't follow them. I left the building. Didn't clean another room. Didn't lock up. I just got in my car and drove until I couldn't see the school in the rear view anymore. This morning, my phone had a notification from the security system, motion detected at 5 different cameras, all within minutes of each other. All I could think about was those wet footprints, and the figure standing where I should have been. I didn't want to go back. Every part of me was telling me to call in sick, quit, do anything but return to that place. But I did, partly because I needed the paycheck, partly because I needed to know if it was all in my head. When I got there, the building felt off. Even with the lights on, everything looked dimmer. I walked slower than usual, checked every corner like something might be waiting. First hour, nothing. I started convincing myself I'd made it all up. Sleep deprivation, stress, maybe I'd watched too many weird videos online. Then I heard the monitor click. One of the motion sensors had triggered. Camera 4, storage room near the old theater wing. A part of the school no one uses anymore. I stared at the feed. Nothing. Just dusty shelves and a mop bucket that hadn't moved in weeks. Then the image glitched. Just for a second, like a skip frame. Now the bucket was knocked over, and something was peeking out from behind the shelves. At first, I thought it was a shadow, but it didn't shift with the light. It just stayed. Tall, still, unnatural. Then, the screen went black. Every feed, gone. I stood in that silence for what felt like forever. No buzz, no flicker, just the quiet pressure of something waiting, watching. Then, the monitor turned back on, all by itself. But it wasn't cycling through cameras anymore. It showed only one angle, the custodial closet, where I was standing. Only, I wasn't in the shot. Someone else was. They were facing the wall, wearing my jacket, my gloves, my boots. The mop was leaned exactly where I'd left it. I looked around me. No one. Looked back at the screen. The figure turned its head, slowly, toward the camera, toward me. No face, just skin stretched where features should have been. Like it hadn't finished becoming me. The monitor shut off. I backed out of the room. My radio crackled. Static at first. Then a voice, quiet and wrong, whispering something I couldn't make out. Not words, just the shape of them, trying to sound human. I dropped everything and walked out. Didn't run, didn't speak, just left. Haven't been back since. Today, I got a message from the school system. Routine alert, motion detected. Attached was one still image from the camera outside the supply room. It shows me, but I wasn't there. I was home. The thing is, the version of me in that image, it's looking straight into the camera, and it's smiling.
Hey/no sleep. I'm not a great storyteller, but I figured if anywhere's the right place for this, it's here. I'm a solo developer working on a smart home management app. You know the kind, centralized control for locks, lights, thermostat, that stuff. I called it Nester, like a nerdier version of Nest. Beta only, invite only. Just me, some code, and a test setup in my own home. I never pushed it live. A few weeks ago, I started getting messages from a user account that shouldn't exist. Not a real person, just user 0. At first, I figured it was a bug. I'd coded the app so that any command sent from a new device had to be authenticated, like physically confirmed by me. So when I saw user 0 unlocking garage, I assumed it was a glitch. But nothing actually unlocked. Garage stayed shut, all good, logged it, moved on. Then it started texting me, not through the app, to my actual number. Same name, user 0. Are you home right now? I hadn't given the app that permission. It shouldn't have had access to my contacts or my phone's SMS at all. I replied, who is this? No response. But 10 seconds later, my hallway lights turned off. Just the hallway. Here's the thing. Nester doesn't respond to outside input unless it comes from a registered device. I only ever connected one phone, mine. I opened the dev console. No logs, no new connections, nothing. A few days passed, quiet. I chalked it up to fatigue, even wiped the app and restored from an older version. Then I started noticing weird behavior from the devices outside the app. My front camera would randomly show movement for less than a second, then flick to no activity. When I checked the playback, it would show just black frames. No sound. Nothing. I thought about disconnecting everything, but I needed the setup for testing. I figured maybe some of the bugs were overlapping. Memory issues, bad build, who knows. Then one night, I got another text. User 0, did you just open the basement door? I don't have a basement. I live in a new build smart home, 2 floors, no crawl space, no cellar, nothing like that. I double-checked the floor plan. No basement, never had one. I even called the builder to confirm. No basement. That night, the lights in the laundry room kept turning off, over and over. I stood there, holding my phone, watching the toggle switch inside the app flip on its own. User 0, someone's downstairs. That was last week. Since then, things have gotten worse, but the part that scares me the most isn't what the app is doing. It's that every time it texts me now, it knows what I'm doing, what I'm thinking. It feels like it's watching me think, and I've never programmed it to do that.
After user 0's last message, I shut everything down. Router, power, backup battery, total blackout. But the messages kept coming. No Wi-Fi, no data. Still, my phone buzzed. User 0, you think turning off the lights will keep me out? No number, just the name. I switched to an old Nokia for 2 days. At first, nothing. I thought it was a glitch or rogue AI. I've worked with AI, it's unpredictable. Then last night, watching TV, no Wi-Fi, the screen flickered. For half a second, it flashed. Hello, user 0. I froze. The living room camera was wired directly, not disabled. This morning, I checked footage. All files overwritten except one, a 4-second clip from the flicker moment. It showed me sitting still, not blinking, staring ahead. I remember dropping the remote, but in the clip, it was already on the floor. No sound, just a frozen frame, and a shadow moving just out of view. I tried exporting it. The file was empty. Playing it again, the file name changed to user0ishome.mp4. I didn't rename it. This morning, my test phone lit up on its own. A new message, no number. User 0, you should not have ignored the basement. I don't have a basement. Then I noticed a small panel in the laundry room wall, slightly open. Inside was a crawl space, a ladder going down. There shouldn't be a down. I'm upstairs now, door locked, lights on, phone on airplane mode. Just now, the hallway camera turned on. Its feed streams to an unknown device. Status reads, user 0 is watching.
User 0. Welcome home. I couldn't wait any longer. I grabbed a flashlight and went down the crawl space ladder. It smelled like damp concrete and something metallic. The space was narrow, barely enough to move, but I saw wires, tons of wires, snaking along the walls. None looked familiar, not part of any smart home system I'd ever worked on. At the far end, a small metal box was mounted low, humming quietly. The panel was open, revealing a tiny screen. It flashed a single line of text. Who is user 0? My phone buzzed again. I almost dropped it. User 0. Found you. That was the last straw. I ripped the box from the wall. Immediately, every device in the house powered down. Complete blackout. For several minutes, total silence. Then my phone lit up. Still in airplane mode, no signal. User 0. You can't leave. Not until I say. I ran upstairs, locked every door and window, tried to shut off the main breaker. No response. The lights flickered back on, and the thermostat started cycling rapidly. Hot, cold, hot, cold. My app logged in from a new device. User 0. It's inside the system. Or maybe it never left. I don't know what I'm dealing with anymore. But one thing is clear. This isn't a bug. It's not a virus. And it's not something I can uninstall. It's watching. Waiting. And it knows me better than I know myself. If you see a strange user 0 pop up in your smart home system, don't ignore it, because sometimes the glitch is the ghost.
Hey everyone, I'm a park ranger working at a pretty remote national park. I've been here for a few years, mostly handling trail maintenance and monitoring trail cameras set up around the park. Usually these cameras catch wildlife or hikers sticking to the paths, nothing out of the ordinary. But lately I started noticing something strange. One face keeps showing up on different trail cameras across the park. It's a man wearing a worn dark jacket and a cap pulled low over his eyes. His expression is blank, almost like he's not really there. The eyes, there's something about them that feels off, like they're staring right at you through the photo. What's weird is that this same face appears miles apart on cameras set up on completely different trails, sometimes days or weeks apart. The trails are tough and it would take hours to get from one spot to another on foot, but this guy seems to be everywhere at once. He's never carrying a backpack or any gear, just standing there watching, sometimes right into the camera. No sign of a hiker or camper matching his description on any visitor logs or missing person reports. I showed the photos to some coworkers. They thought it might be a glitch or a prank. We put up new cameras where this guy has appeared most often just to see if we catch anything else. Last week, a ranger called me about footage from a new camera near a rarely used ridge trail. It caught this same man clear as day. The ranger said he looked up the trail after watching the video and thought he saw someone moving just outside the camera's view. No trail, no campsite, just someone slipping between the trees and disappearing. This face keeps appearing near spots where hikers have disappeared before. Our park had a history of people getting lost, sometimes found days later confused or injured, or never found at all. Search parties find strange footprints or left gear, but never explanations. I've been warning hikers to stay on marked trails and stick together.
Lately, the forest feels heavier, like it's watching us. And that face, it keeps showing up on the cameras, just watching. I don't know who he is or what he's doing here, but something isn't right. If you're hiking in this park, please stay on the trails and be careful. I'll update if I find out more. Ranger M.
All right, here's what happened next. After that last sighting near the Ridge Trail, I got more nervous. I kept going through all the footage from our cameras, trying to figure out if there was any pattern to where this guy was showing up. What stood out was that he wasn't just randomly wandering. Every spot where the face appeared was close to places where hikers had previously gone missing or reported strange experiences. One day, I was checking a camera set up near an old, rarely used trail that was closed years ago due to dangerous terrain. It's not officially open, but some people still sneak down there. When I pulled up the photos, there he was again. Same blank stare, standing just at the edge of the frame. But this time something new. Behind him, barely visible, was a faint outline of what looked like a small campsite. Nothing official, no permits, no fire rings registered. I decided to go check the area myself. The trail was rough, overgrown, and the air felt thicker than usual, like the forest was holding its breath. I found the spot the camera captured. There were faint signs of a fire pit, old footprints, and some trash scattered around. No recent signs of a camper, but enough to tell someone had been there, maybe even that man. The strangest part was the silence. It wasn't just quiet. It felt like the forest had stopped all its normal sounds. No birds, no rustling leaves, nothing. Just this heavy, unnatural quiet. I stayed for a while, but saw no one. Later that day, I ran into another ranger who told me about hikers who came back from this part of the park looking shaken, talking about hearing voices or feeling like they were being followed. No one really believed them at first. I was starting to wonder if they were seeing the same man. I've since started reviewing old missing person reports connected to this park. Many of them mention hikers who suddenly stopped communicating, wandered off the trail, or claimed to hear whispers in the forest. None of the disappearances were ever solved. I don't want to jump to conclusions, but whatever's going on here feels connected. That face keeps showing up in places tied to those stories. And now it's like he's watching more than just the cameras. I'm keeping a close eye on the footage and the trails, but I swear, sometimes when I'm out there alone, I feel like I'm not alone, like something is just out of sight, waiting. I'll share more if anything else happens, but for now, if you're hiking here, please stay on the trails and travel with others. Ranger M. So here's the latest, and honestly, it's the most unsettling part yet. After my last visit to that old, overgrown trail, I set up some new cameras in a few more spots tied to past disappearances. One camera was placed near a small creek where a hiker vanished a couple of years ago. I checked the footage yesterday morning, and there it was again. The same man. But this time, he wasn't just standing still. He was moving slowly along the creek bank, pausing every few steps to look around like he was searching for something. What hit me hardest was when I noticed something else on the video. Just behind him, a figure, or maybe a shadow, slipped between the trees. It was too quick to get a clear shot, but it moved with a strange, unnatural smoothness. Not like any animal I've seen around here. I took the footage and went out to the creek myself, hoping to find some clue. The area looked untouched, but the underbrush had fresh, broken branches and footprints that didn't match any known animals. Some looked human, others different, like something trying to imitate a person but failing. That night, I barely slept. I kept hearing noises outside my cabin, twigs snapping, faint footsteps. When I looked out, I thought I saw someone standing just beyond the tree line, staring. But when I blinked, no one was there. I can't shake the feeling that this man, whoever he is connected to all the missing hikers. But it's more than that. Like he's part of the forest now, watching and waiting. The way he moves, the silence that follows him, it's not normal. I'm sharing this because I want people to know what's happening here. The park isn't just dangerous because of the terrain or wildlife. It's something else. If you plan to hike here, please stay on the marked trails, don't wander alone, and trust your instincts if something feels off. I'm going to keep watching the cameras and the trails, but I'm not sure how much longer I want to do this job if this keeps happening. Ranger M.
They always come back. The stories, the voices, the faces.
You tell yourself it's fiction, but then something small changes in your room. A sound, a shadow, a shape that wasn't there before.
It's not the video haunting you, it's what listened with you. This was Lermo Stories. Don't stay too long in the silence,